Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang. Adrian is away. Tonight, a CBC News project finds Canada's kids under pressure as teachers worry about a year of lost learning.
I often feel defeated.
It has been an insane amount of work.
Burnt out teachers, stressed out students, and concern that some kids will never catch up.
I really feel for these kids.
We take you through the findings of our exclusive project. Also tonight, CBC News is on the ground in Israel as the violence worsens. Plus, a mother in Canada anxiously watches as her children live through a nightmare.
They keep asking me every day, why you left us? When we are going to meet again?
Her appeal to Ottawa. And pubs, hugs, even travel.
We haven't seen each other really since Christmas 2019.
Yes.
A look into the future as the UK opens up, but it comes with a warning. This is The National. Tonight, we zero in on just how much of our kids' education has been compromised by COVID. CBC News reached out to and heard from more than 9,000 teachers, principals, and other staff. Their concerns are the basis for our project called Schools Under Stress. And just think of how difficult things have been under the strain of haphazard scheduling, the challenges of learning online. We have firsthand insight into what students have lost, plus how educators themselves are burning out. We'll try to understand the issues, but also show you solutions. We begin, though, with the high-stakes problems facing high school students. Here's Deanna Sumanak-Johnson on their make or break year.
Bridget Salomon has had many reasons to worry during this final year of high school. Among them, just how much or how little she learned.
Knowing where I should be versus where I am now is definitely very stressful.
Turns out educators across Canada have similar concerns about a learning gap. Almost 3/4 of respondents to the CBC News questionnaire said they were behind schedule on covering the curriculum. About 55% said fewer of their students were meeting the learning objectives, and over 70% of teacher respondents think some students will never catch up. The main cause of this disruption, pandemic shifts between in-person and remote education. But intense learning in small groups to avoid infection didn't help either, says this teacher.
They get to see me for 22 days, and they have to pick up everything that they would normally have 5 months to learn. That's actually really rough. I really feel for these kids.
Also getting in the way of student achievement, anxiety many have been feeling about the pandemic and stresses at home, says this teacher.
Personally, I've had to actually really talk to students one-on-one, see what's going on in their life, and try to adjust my grading and my what I've been teaching according to what's going on in their life.
She hopes that same approach will be taken by post-secondary institutions for first-year students in September. And so does grade 12 student Jordan Mutabazi, who knows his education has suffered this year.
I'm not too worried, as everyone else going into university is facing the same thing that I am. So I'm not going to be alone in that fact.
Alone or not, students and educators will likely be playing catch-up for months or even years to come.
So, hey, Deanna, I'm curious, what surprised you about these results in the questionnaire?
Andrew, first off, the sheer number of responses we got. More than 9,000 educators felt compelled to share their thoughts. And then secondly, how many teachers were worried about their students' mental health. 90% of those who responded, and that worry was shared among educators coast to coast.
And looking ahead to the fall, do these educators have solutions in mind?
Andrew, they sure do. Most of them have said they'd like to see the provincial governments get involved to attend to those mental health crises and educational shortfalls. And then there were some more radical solutions proposed. Quite a few teachers actually wrote to us to say that they would like to see the students be allowed to repeat the whole year. Andrew.
Wow. Okay, Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, thank you. And a bit later in the program, we are going to speak with two psychologists about the hardships facing kids in all age groups and how best to approach those problems if digital learning ends up being here to stay. Okay, Canada is getting closer to another devastating milestone in its COVID-19 story, approaching 25,000 deaths since the pandemic began. But despite that terrible toll, there is hope in many provinces that the worst could soon be behind us. Since peaking last month, the number of new cases in Canada has been on a steady downward slope. Most provinces are now seeing daily case rates falling or flattening. But in Manitoba, a different story. Their latest wave has surged in recent weeks, making it now the country's leading COVID-19 hotspot. With Manitoba's healthcare system under growing strain, officials are warning more public health restrictions are still on the table. And as Cameron McIntosh explains, it is tough news to swallow for a province already feeling pandemic fatigue.
She can't see friends. She relies on texts and social media. At 13, it's just not the same.
On my phone, the cover for the back screen is, "It'll get better, just keep waiting till next week."
For Natasha Simon, next week is always just like the last. Out of school, out of touch.
I have had very many low moments, and too often I've realized, and I could say the same for my friends as well.
15 months that we've been dealing with COVID-19.
Manitoba's chief medical officer admitting messages to follow the fundamentals are also getting tired, as the province leads the country in per capita infections. There are now more COVID patients in ICU than there were actual ICU beds pre-pandemic. Last week, the government closed schools, restricted gatherings, and retail access. So far, it's resisted a stay-at-home order, but
we don't take things off the table if we're going to protect Manitobans if necessary.
Why has the Premier and the Cabinet failed to protect people in our province?
The Premier blames those breaking the rules.
COVID numbers that are extremely high right now are going to continue to be high if people won't follow the public health orders.
But some doctors say Manitoba's orders should have gone further, faster.
But I think there were enough hints all around us and enough experience with the second wave that we could have acted sooner.
The push is on to vaccinate all Manitobans over age 12. This clinic, geared at the Indigenous population, still among the province's hardest hit.
I've waited patiently all these months, and it feels like my patience has been awarded with the vaccine.
I'll get anything as long as we can just open up.
Now, vaccinations restrictions take weeks to take effect. In a province already feeling beat down, the third wave may push into summer. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
In Alberta, daily case numbers are seeing a downward trend, but even so, the province now has a record number of people in ICUs.
So that's a total of 241 people in intensive care, when normally our healthcare system is set up to care for about 170 people in ICU.
Of the 241 people in intensive care, 181 are COVID patients, a number that has more than doubled over the past month. Well, a late development out of Ottawa tonight. The Public Health Agency announced who will head up the country's vaccine rollout. It comes after the sudden departure of Major General Danny Fortin late Friday night, abruptly leaving the post under the cloud of a military investigation into a sexual misconduct allegation. Ashley Burke is following this developing story for us tonight. So Ashley, who's got the job?
Well, Andrew, her name is Brigadier General Krista Brody. She's a logistics officer who's been in uniform for more than 30 years, serving on deployments overseas in Croatia, Bosnia, and Afghanistan. She was the first woman to command one service battalion, one of the military's largest units. Brody was also a key member of Major General Fortin's team, part of the initial military group seconded to the Public Health Agency to plan for vaccine distribution. Now, that agency says Brody's return to the file allows for a seamless transition.
Okay, and Ashley, what more can you tell us about Fortin tonight?
Well, sources on Friday told us that he's facing an allegation of sexual misconduct, and it predates 2015 when Operation Honor was launched to stamp out sexual misconduct in the forces. In a statement tonight, Fortin's lawyer said he denies the allegations. Of course, this is just the latest in the military's misconduct crisis. Fortin joins a list of half a dozen military leaders who have come under fire over allegations. Andrew?
Okay, Ashley Burke in Ottawa tonight. Thanks.
Thank you.
Today, Joe Biden gave a boost to the global vaccine supply. He said in the coming weeks, the United States will start sharing its stockpile with the world by shipping out a total of 80 million doses. Katie Simpson now on where they could be going.
It was easy.
With the country on track to soon have enough shots for all eligible Americans, the president announced his new plan to increase U.S. vaccine donations, with the first shipments set for late June.
We know America will never be fully safe until the pandemic that's raging globally is under control.
To ensure equitable distribution, the shots will be given to the International Vaccine Sharing Initiative known as COVAX.
We'll share these vaccines in the service of ending the pandemic everywhere. And we will not use our vaccines to secure favors from other countries.
Joe Biden has been under intense pressure to increase donations, especially as India, the world's largest vaccine producer, halted exports to fight its own horrific wave of illness. And persistent calls from the World Health Organization for countries to end what it says amounts to vaccine nationalism. It wants wealthy countries to stop vaccinating kids and donate those doses to poor countries instead.
The big problem is a lack of sharing, so the solution is more sharing.
While Canada is part of the COVAX program, both as a donor and a recipient, it's unclear if it will get any of these new shots. One U.S. lawmaker hopes so, as part of the effort to make conditions safe enough to lift border restrictions.
Our economies are integrated, and I think that we should be doing everything that we can to help our Canadian friends get vaccinated.
The new U.S. donations will include Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca shots. But the bulk of the overall American donations will be AstraZeneca, which is still not approved for use in this country. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Today, fighting between Palestinian militants and Israeli forces entered a second week with more destruction, more death, and no ceasefire in sight. At least 200 Palestinians and 10 Israelis have been killed so far, many of them children, as bombs fall on the Gaza Strip, as rockets fly into Israel. The UN now warns Gaza's power station could soon run out of fuel, and the world is getting more worried as each day passes. Margaret Evans is in Jerusalem. Margaret, what's happening there tonight?
Well, as you know, Andrew, we are now in week 2 of this conflict, and it started pretty much as week 1 did, with the sounds of rockets and missiles.
If Gaza wasn't on its knees before, it is now. Here, exhausted-looking fighters battle ablaze at a factory in the wake of an Israeli airstrike. They've intensified over the past 2 days, and today, one killed a senior Islamic Jihad commander. Israel has pledged to hobble Palestinian militant groups and their ability to hit Israel. It might be working, but it's also taking a terrible toll on the people of Gaza, an impoverished strip of land under an Israeli and Egyptian blockade since 2007. They destroyed the roads, says resident Zuhair al-Barkani. They should hit those who hit them. They shouldn't hit the poor people sleeping in their homes. Israel insists it does its best to avoid civilian casualties. Aid agencies warn the level of damage is hampering humanitarian efforts. Hospitals already coping with slim resources and a pandemic. A bleak landscape is becoming even bleaker. The number of rockets Hamas and Islamic Jihad have been firing at Israel dropped overnight, but they've picked up after today's targeted killing, with threats to send more towards Tel Aviv. Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile defense system is working, but about 10% of rockets get through. At a synagogue in Ashkelon, worshippers returned to pray a day after a rocket went through its roof.
It's a very sad time for us over here in Ashkelon. We are always on bombing. I hope it will finish fast.
Neither side appears done yet, though. Israel has more than the upper hand when it comes to military might. But this was the funeral of 2 other Islamic Jihad fighters today. The anger of the young sweeping through the streets. The pain of Gaza could have other repercussions.
And Margaret, how are Palestinians elsewhere reacting?
Well, tomorrow, Andrew, there's going to be a huge general strike, not just in Gaza, but in the occupied territories and in Israel. Demonstrations to protest against what's happening inside Gaza, but also against other Palestinian grievances, from the evictions that have been threatened in occupied East Jerusalem, Israeli settlement expansion, and against discrimination against Palestinian Arab Israelis too. And what's interesting about this is that the rival factions of Hamas in Gaza and Fatah in the West Bank are both backing this march. So you're seeing a real show of unity in opposition to what's been happening in Gaza, but also to the Israeli occupation in general.
Okay, Margaret Evans reporting from Jerusalem tonight. Thank you. The diplomatic push for peace is ramping up, with multiple countries calling for a ceasefire. But as Susan Ormiston explains, the U.S. president is being criticized for how he is handling the situation.
This is President Biden's first full-blown international crisis, and he's being pressured to be more aggressive with Israel.
I'll be speaking with the Prime Minister in an hour.
But in that call late today with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Biden reiterated support for Israel to defend itself against indiscriminate rockets. He expressed support for a ceasefire, but did not explicitly call for one.
Our approach is through quiet, intensive diplomacy, and that's where we feel we can be most effective.
But as the conflict intensifies, the Biden administration is facing pushback, some from within his own party.
Biden so far has been relatively muted in criticism of Israel, and in this he has incurred a lot of ire from the grassroots on the left.
30 Democrat senators have called for an immediate ceasefire, some questioning America's decades-old support for Israel.
The president and many other figures this week stated that Israel has a right to self-defense. But do Palestinians have a right to survive?
But Biden's Democrats are split.
And our friend and ally and Israel has a right to defend her citizens.
Biden's early agenda did not focus on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, hoping to move away from Middle East wars to tackle domestic crises.
Most presidents come in hoping not to deal with this, and a bit like the line from The Godfather, they get pulled back in. And this is true. What he does now is a difficult choice.
There are reports tonight quoting an Israeli official that Biden didn't mention any timeline for any brokered ceasefire, but that the U.S. was messaging it was reaching the end of its ability to hold back international pressure. Netanyahu said tonight Israel will continue its campaign as long as is necessary. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
Now, the ongoing violence in the Middle East has personal repercussions for so many, including one mom in Ottawa. She fled Gaza 2 years ago under threat from Hamas. Now her daughters are living through airstrikes. She's desperate to bring them here, but their application process has been delayed. Amanda Pfeffer has their story.
يلا يا حبيبتي كيف حالكم يا ماما احكولي.
Jihan Kuno hasn't been able to hug her girls since she fled to Canada 2 years ago, but the separation has never been more stressful than during the last week. The girls stuck in Gaza as airstrikes come down nearby. The 6-year-old holds her ears as she talks about the impact of the explosions. After each one, they take shelter in a safe room with other families. These videos taken by the eldest show the chaos. The girls, inconsolable. It happened in the middle of a call with their mom.
She starts screaming and crying and running. The psychological impact of my kids, they can't manage anymore without me.
Kuno fled to Canada in the summer of 2019, when she says her work for an American-funded aid agency in Gaza led to threats from Hamas. Her refugee claim was delayed by the pandemic, but eventually accepted. Last fall, she applied for permanent residence for herself and to bring the kids over. Kuno's lawyer says there is a provision for a fast-tracked application, especially when kids are separated from a parent, but she says even those are delayed.
Her application is sitting in an envelope in a processing center.
The Canadian Council for Refugees wants to see the time reduced to 6 months in cases like these.
They have the right to permanent residence for their children,
and yet it's taking 2 to 3 years. What is our particular responsibility as a country towards these children?
Meanwhile, the girls are staying with their grandmother.
They keep asking me every day, why you left us? When we are going to meet again? I don't have answer. I don't have answer. I feel like there is no hope. There is nothing coming soon.
A spokesperson for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada says the agency required more time to examine Kuno's application before responding. Amanda Pfeffer, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, thousands of Canadian teachers have told us they are stressed out, burnt out, and worried about their students.
Teachers are definitely feeling it.
Ahead in our project looking at education in the pandemic, we ask the experts which kids we should be most concerned for. Nova Scotia's strict border measures leave some homeowners feeling homeless.
It's really difficult. I don't know where I'm going.
And with indoor pubs, travel, even hugs,
It's so good to see you.
England takes a step into the future. But is it too soon? We're back in 2. Welcome back. Nova Scotia says it is seeing progress with its COVID-19 infection numbers, but it's not out of the woods yet.
We're not yet seeing the steady decline we had hoped for, and this is going to take some more time.
Case numbers in Nova Scotia began surging at the end of April, peaking at a 7-day average of 173 new cases per day at the beginning of May. Since then, it has been trending downwards, but the daily counts have fluctuated. The 7-day average of daily new cases is now down to 113 cases. Now, as part of the crackdown to bring those cases down, the province has implemented some of the toughest travel restrictions in the country. But as Kayla Hounsel tells us, that has left some people, including homeowners, in really tricky situations.
Patrice Tardif has been packing for months. She delayed her retirement from the Quebec Health and Safety Commission to work through the pandemic. Now she's ready to live out her retirement plans and move to Nova Scotia next week.
My home is completely isolated in Nova Scotia. I have 7 acres. My closest neighbor is a kilometer away.
But Nova Scotia won't let her in. The province has significantly tightened its border, trying to battle a huge surge in cases. The province is allowing some exemptions for people who have purchased homes before April 21st, for example. Tardif was denied because she's owned this property for years, but now her home in Montreal has sold.
It's really difficult. I don't know where I'm going. I'm out on the street as of the 25th of May.
We sold our house in Maple Ridge, British Columbia.
This couple does meet the exemption requirements, but still got turned away at the border.
It was perfectly fine when we left. They said, yeah, you can still come. So we left and we started driving.
But the rules changed while they were on the road. They were eventually allowed in, but only after 2 days at the New Brunswick border in their RV.
We even asked them, what are we supposed to do? And they just shrugged their shoulders and said, we don't know.
Many being turned away are flocking to this Quebec hotel.
We have a lot of people trying to go to Nova Scotia. We have maybe from 10 to 15 people on a daily basis. We saw people here for weeks.
Nova Scotia says it is processing the most urgent requests first.
I know these border measures will be difficult no matter what, but we are also necessarily disrupting the lives of all Nova Scotians with our restrictions.
In the meantime, Patrice Cardiff doesn't know what to do. Today is her birthday. The only gift she wants is to be able to move into the home she already owns. Kayla Hounsel, CBC News, Halifax.
Now, Nova Scotia is just one part of Canada where the real estate market has been booming during the pandemic. As interest rates were pushed down, average home prices in the country soared. But lately, as Greg Rasmussen tells us, a different trend is emerging.
Everything's the original here. Original floors, original everything. So
this seller is sprucing up.
See, that looks better already.
Hoping to get around $1.8 million for her house after a big jump in prices.
I think now is a good time to sell. I think we were kind of at the peak right now. It may go up, may go down, but every once in a while you just have to jump in.
Rates are low, prices are high.
Her agent says record high prices have shut out some buyers. He recently listed a condo expecting lots of offers.
20 showings in 3 days. I'm getting ready for all the multiple offers and got the documents ready and no offers. So for me, that's kind of an indication like, oh, something's happening here.
A slower market could be the new normal. While April is usually one of the busiest months for real estate, sales are down more than 12% from March. A slowdown is overdue, say many longtime market watchers.
And it's not really that much of a decrease. It's just getting back to the normal. So things are cooling off, which is what we really want to happen in the housing market.
Many buyers are backing away after too many rushed showings and houses going far over asking price.
The gamble was to place an offer, hope that you got the winning bid, and hold your breath that the house was in okay condition by the time you got the house for sure.
This is me. I'm the youngest.
For the Vancouver seller, a different problem.
It's very emotional to move from a home that we've been in for a very, very long time. Lots of ties, lots of memories, lots of people have come through the house, and it's sad. We have to move on. It's time.
Time to sell in this case, while others wonder about jumping in. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, thousands of teachers have told us they are concerned about what their kids aren't learning during the pandemic.
We almost feel forgotten as a grade 12 class.
Next, students share their experiences, and we ask the experts what we can learn from the past year. Plus, the BC man taking thousands on adventures in his own backyard. Welcome back. CBC News has heard from thousands of teachers about the damage to kids' education from a school year fractured by COVID. We showed you their stark concerns revealed through their responses to our exclusive questionnaire. And in a moment, we'll get you practical advice from tonight's panel. But first, reports from the front lines of learning.
Teachers are definitely feeling it. Like everyone I'm talking to is talking about how there's so much, like they have so much marking, it's stacked up.
We almost feel forgotten as a grade 12 class. You know, we didn't get to say goodbye to our friends, and you expect grade 12 to go out with such a bang, and it didn't go out with a bang, it went out with a whisper.
A lot of people might think it was easy just because we have 2 courses in like one semester, quadmester actually, but it was harder than you think.
Teachers think you just have a lot more time. It kind of depends on our home lives, and a lot of us are working full time and all that kind of stuff. I work myself, so.
I can't really say we're ahead or we're behind, but it's more of an adjustment.
The biggest challenge this year was getting to know students and building that classroom community.
They've been so lonely, just missing their friends and not having that peer social interaction.
It was something like I always look forward to like doing and going to school for was the sports, and now it's gone.
You go 13 years of school like waiting for this big year, and not being able to have it the way you wished you could is really upsetting.
I have graduation coming up in a few weeks, and our parents can't come. It's going to be live streamed, and so it's really different.
I'm still dealing with teacher burnout to this day. I don't think ever in my career have I been cognizant of how many weeks there are left in a school year.
It's definitely changed my plans for my future and for university as well. I had been planning to go away to Ontario or Montreal my whole life, but because the COVID cases are so high there, I will be staying in Nova Scotia.
So more than a few common themes there, right? And a lot of that might sound familiar to you, especially if you're a parent. So let's talk more about what kids and parents should be bracing for and how to cope from 2 psychologists who specialize in education. Dr. Kelly Dean Schwartz is with the University of Calgary, and Dr. Todd Cunningham is at the University of Toronto. Hello to both of you.
Hello. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, so Dr. Cunningham, maybe I can start with you. And I want to start, if I could, with one of the key findings in this questionnaire that we heard about earlier, how most teachers said that they felt some students may never catch up, to compensate for this gap. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it actually falls in line with what we know from past research. There's something called the summer slide. So students who don't have access to learning materials such as literacy and numeracy tools have supportive environments that are encouraging them to kind of build their literacy skills over the course of a summer, or who have learning challenges, they typically lose about 2 to 3 months of literacy and numeracy skills over the course of just a 2-month summer. Now, fast forward to today, we've had 14 plus months of those students who haven't had access to regular education, ongoing education, and we're expecting that they're going to be falling further behind. So fast forward to whenever we do return, teachers are going to be having a large range of abilities sitting in their class, those who have continued to develop as we'd expect, and then other students who have not. And we really need to pay attention to those students to catch them up.
Right, and Dr. Schwartz, students have missed out on so much. Are there particular age groups or grades that concern you most?
Yeah, so we're privileged to do a study here in Alberta with some Calgary and Edmonton junior high and senior high schools. And really interesting. It was something we again knew from the literature that we thought we'd see differences between kind of early adolescence and mid and older adolescents. And certainly what we found was that there's a difference both in how they're thinking about their educational experiences, but also in terms of kind of some of the mental health symptoms or indicators. Certainly their social connections are different, where the older teens, kind of the 15 to 18-year-olds, are certainly reporting, higher levels of stress, more concern over the effects on their educational experiences, whereas the younger teens are a little bit more concerned about the social aspect of it. And again, we were kind of surprised to see that, but it sort of makes sense developmentally too in terms of what's their priority, the social versus the academic.
Right, and I'm glad you make that distinction, because it is so important and so key to this, in the sense that every individual is going to react to this gap differently. So Dr. Cunningham, what is your initial sense about how best to deal with such a difficult circumstance?
Yeah, I think we're going to need to take the next couple months in education to really step back and say, okay, how can we first identify those students who are going to be further behind? And the second thing is, how can we equip our educators, our teachers, to be able to help to address that? So we live in an exciting time in education where we have these really cool little measures, these what's called curriculum baseline measures, which is a 1-minute test that a teacher can use to help identify either a student's reading, math, or writing skills and say, okay, you are developing fine and this group is not. So let me differentiate my time that I'm spending on helping to support these students. Let me shift some of my time to more of those lower students to, again, help them get caught back up so that I can get everybody back on track as best as possible to continue out the learning year.
And Dr. Schwartz, from a parent's point of view, I mean, especially thinking that digital learning may be something, at least in some way, shape, or form, may be something that sticks around, right, in some way into September, perhaps maybe even beyond. So how should a parent be bracing for that moment?
Yeah, isn't it a mixed blessing? I mean, I think most parents are kind of actually happy that there's been a bit of a technology overload, because we've been kind of talking about that with our kids and with our youth about the dangers and risks of it. Now we've just been so engrossed in it for over a year. It's become, it's part of our social connections and it's part of our educational learning environments. And I think it's all about, again, trying to find that balance. We as psychologists are always trying to think about what are the pros and cons, what are the weaknesses and benefits of too much or inappropriate use of technology. Now moving forward, it's not a matter of if, but it's just how much, and how do we learn from our COVID experience in terms of putting boundaries around that technology use and learning from it for the benefit of our kids, but also learning what we shouldn't do as a result.
Dr. Cunningham, you're nodding your head. We've got about 20 seconds left. You get the final word here.
Well, I think, we have to divide technology into like the education part versus the entertainment part. And yes, I think as parents, we've all kind of used the entertainment screen a little bit more to be that babysitter in the classroom. And so going forward, we're really going to have to work with our youth to say, okay, as we can replace that time with other healthy activities, going outside, getting back into extracurricular activities, that we do so that we have better kind of screen hygiene and we don't just continue to sit there staring at the screen 24/7.
Gentlemen, we're just scratching the surface, but this has been helpful. Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Cunningham, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And tomorrow, our Schools Under Stress project tackles vaccination. Should teachers have to get their shots before teaching your kids in class?
100%. Like, it's a no-brainer. I mean, your number one job when you're working with kids is to keep them safe.
And many of the teachers who responded to our questionnaire agree with that, but we will explore the ethics of requiring vaccination or even of asking if someone's gotten the shot. Now, as the COVID crisis spiraled out of control in India, people there turned their grief and anger towards the Prime Minister.
You have no idea what the common citizen of India is going through.
Can Narendra Modi's political career survive the pandemic? We'll be right back. powerful cyclone has made landfall on India's western coast, narrowly missing the city of Mumbai. At least 12 deaths have been reported, and hundreds of thousands have had to flee their homes. The cyclone has even forced the suspension of some vaccination efforts in the region as a COVID wave overwhelms the Indian healthcare system. Now, a violent cyclone could just as well be a symbol of the emotion in India right now, going from global leader in vaccine production to the world's worst COVID hotspot. As Salima Shivji tells us, people there are furious at a prime minister who was once seen as an unstoppable political force.
In hospital after hospital, the grief is overpowering. The feeling of helplessness mingled with anger. Be it the desperate search for more oxygen or an ICU bed.
So I would request Modi ji.
This woman took to Twitter in desperation to highlight the urgency. Hospitals so crowded she couldn't find a bed for her mother she feared was slowly slipping away. It led to her chilling plea for the Prime Minister.
If you cannot advise me, sir, then I would request you to legalize mercy killing in India, because you have no idea what the common citizen of India is going through at the moment. We are struggling.
In India's most populous state, there's scorn. This government calls itself a superpower, he says, but what superpower can't even provide its people with oxygen? Many feel Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in political rally mode just a few weeks ago, is now missing in action. Video conspicuously released of Modi this weekend in high-level meetings to talk COVID response and prepare for a severe cyclone heading India's way has done little to quell the anger. For this family, the pain is raw. A father gone so quickly.
My father was like God of us. He's everything for us.
She says he was forced to work at the polls for local elections, a super spreader event allowed to go ahead. The teachers' union claims hundreds of people lost their lives as a result. Many are now incensed by the sense the Prime Minister cares more for votes than lives.
What we are seeing instead is a deep silence, and I would go so far as to say a deep callousness on the part of our political leadership at a time of national crisis.
A few months ago, Modi declared victory, boasting India had COVID-19 under control, until the devastating second wave proved otherwise. A healthcare system that gets funding equal to just 1% of the country's GDP, now verging on collapse.
Our health infrastructure is creaking, if not broken. We didn't spend any time strengthening it or preparing it. Rather, we fell into the trap of assuming that there was such a thing as Indian exceptionalism.
Polls suggest Modi's popularity has dipped to its lowest point in 2 years, a low he's not used to.
He's become what I would describe as a Teflon man. In other words, the political challenges and political vulnerability, things like that, it doesn't stick to him.
But this time, the anger and the anguish is more widespread. A country that prides itself on not needing foreign aid is watching plane after plane touch down. Loaded with supplies officials struggle to distribute. A dent to Modi's preferred image of a strong India and his own brand. Still, many say the Prime Minister is a skilled politician.
What Modi has shown over the years is that he has a remarkable ability to rehabilitate himself and reinvent himself.
He's also a leader with time on his side. The opposition is weak, and the next general election is a full 3 years away.
They will do what they have already begun to do. They're going to change the subject.
Counting on a nation somehow forgetting this pain. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, much of the United Kingdom took a big step today towards a new normal.
Oh, babe, it's so good to see you.
Hugs, indoor pubs, fitness classes, even travel. Quite a thrill for lots of people, but there is risk. We'll take you there.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's Daily News podcast Front Burner, Aaron O'Toole says he supports a ban on conversion therapy, but that doesn't mean that everyone in his party has to share his beliefs. Hear more in part 1 of a wide-ranging interview. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, a bit of a gloomy-looking day at the London Eye, but people were happy to wait in line, smiling under those masks. That's because the attraction reopened today after months of lockdown, giving people a chance to see the capital once again from on high. And other restrictions, too, were lifted today across much of Britain. As Renee Filipponi shows us, being able to travel and hug once again is bringing some much-needed hope.
High impact and heavy breathing at an indoor fitness class.
They've missed having that social feel of their exercise, their routine, seeing other people, having the motivation of other people.
It's one of many things allowed again in England. Cheers. Indoor dining is also back on the table, and venues like theaters and sports stadiums can open with reduced capacity.
But please, be cautious about the risks to your loved ones.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson credited the vaccine program for this moment, but delivered a warning.
But to ensure our progress is irreversible, we must follow the rules and take up the offer of a vaccine.
International travel is now also allowed, with 12 approved countries, including Portugal.
We haven't seen each other really since Christmas 2019. Yes.
There are concerns it's happening too fast. In Bolton, a town in northwest England, there are still lineups for vaccinations. The town has seen a sharp spike in infections, with the variant from India now the dominant strain there.
The steepness of that rising is really concerning.
This expert says the government isn't taking the threat of variants seriously enough.
There are still unknowns about the effects of these new variants in terms of the impact on people who are vaccinated, on the impact of people who've already been infected, being reinfected.
At the Royal Opera, rehearsals have been underway in preparation for tonight's first live audience of the year.
I think that we're in a good place to start again and to make all the work that we want to in the way that we love.
And it's getting back together again that's bringing hope.
Babe, it's so good to see you and cuddle you.
The government has even given the okay to hug, something that was once normal, now a precious moment on the road out of COVID. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, London.
Okay, well, it is a big night for media in this country as the Canadian Screen Awards kicked off. Awards for news and documentary were handed out tonight, virtually, of course. And we want to tell you about some big wins for CBC News.
CBC News, The National, May 31, 2020.
Playing a bit of a game of cat and mouse.
The National won the award for Best Live News Special for May 31st last year when protests over the death of George Floyd erupted across the United States. CBC News has had a number of nominations, but another win we wanted to mention after a year of incredibly hard work making sense of the science and decoding the pandemic, our very own health reporter, Christine Bierak, won the award for Best National Reporter. So, congratulations, Christine. And of course, she joins a number of other winners, both local and national. Well, if you're on TikTok, you might already know Vancouverite Ben Kalshinsky. He's got 1.4 million followers there. And it's no surprise because he makes videos that are kind of pandemic perfect, taking locked down viewers along for an adventure in beautiful BC. Whether they want to come or not, his trendy TikTok treks are our moment.
You want to come explore with me? What you got? You're coming. Since kind of the pandemic, we're fortunate enough here in Vancouver to have a lot of access to beautiful parks and amazing hikes, and I've really felt myself growing more connected to nature and doing things on my own.
My God, it's beautiful.
I filmed it, posted on TikTok just because why not? And then it felt good to be able to share my experiences and get people out of the house during all of this. The majority of those places are parks. Like they're like parks with parking lots. I get a lot of very nice messages, and I think it helps a lot of people, and it helps me be in there when everybody was at home and wanting a sense of adventure that I was able to give them. Until next time, thanks for coming.
Love it. So he says he, generally tries to stay within an hour of where he lives. Usually he's only going about 20 minutes out of the city. And I got to say, I've lived in Vancouver, lived there for 5 years. Those video clips, what an excellent reminder of how genuinely, breathtakingly beautiful British Columbia really is. That's The National for this May 17th. Have a great night.